First, though, this top story this half an hour, investigating the investigators. House lawmakers are expected to grill the FBI director's chief of staff today over the agency's handling of the Hillary Clinton email scandal. Among the questions for Jim Rybicki, why former FBI Director Jim Comey did not recommend criminal charges against Clinton. South Carolina Congressman Trey Gowdy shed some light on the probe last night on Fox.
We already know this case was handled differently from any other case that the FBI agents could remember. Now, part of that is that you're dealing with a presidential candidate, and we want to make sure that that was the only reason that it was done differently. There was an exoneration memo drafted in May of 2016 that, as a former prosecutor, I just found stunning. I find stunning that a law enforcement officer would draft it 2 months before you have interviewed the target of the investigation and before you've interviewed almost 24 witnesses.
Joining us this morning is retired Marine Corps Gunnery Sergeant and Senior Fellow at the London Center for Policy Research, Jessie Jane Duff. Jessie, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining the conversation this morning.
Good morning.
So where do you think this is headed? I mean, we know that Jim Comey started to write out that exoneration letter way before even interviewing the first interview, and certainly way before interviewing Hillary Clinton. We also know that the FBI obviously was there was corruption at the top of the FBI. I don't think that I'm reaching by saying that. I mean, there was collusion, certainly. You've got top FBI agent Peter Strzok talking to his girlfriend and saying, look, we need an insurance policy should Donald Trump win. I assume the insurance policy is all these investigations over the Russia narrative, which is a lot of nothing. What are your thoughts on this investigation?
Well, I have to agree with Trey Gowdy that this is stunning. We are all stunned, and we're also stunned that this is taking so long to reveal what the American people already know. The facts seem to move very slowly, and we are consistently being reminded that the wheels of justice move slowly and grind exceedingly fine. So in this particular case, I do think that we will see something come out of this. We know that the Department of Justice has expressed interest in investigating the Clinton email scandal. They're looking at the Uranium One deals that went on, but don't expect it to happen overnight. It is going to be slow, and I wouldn't say it probably won't happen probably till another year or two before we start seeing some action being taken.
Jessie, this wasn't the only special treatment, though, that Hillary Clinton was given. It wasn't just the exoneration statement. It was the fact that her lawyer was allowed to be in the room. It was the fact the FBI director lied to Congress about this. If the rot is really at the very top of the FBI, how do you even start to tackle that?
Well, unfortunately for Attorney General Sessions, he is surrounded by a lot of people that he cannot necessarily get rid of unless he fires them. And then that would completely become a political scandal within itself. There are people that have worked under the Obama administration that are in place, and they are doing everything in their power to protect the Clinton legacy. This is quite apparent when you look at a lot of the Judicial Watch documents that have been released, that there is obviously higher ups who have an invested interest in making sure that the Clinton legacy is restored or at least maintained. But I think that ship has sailed. That horse left the barn. It is time for the Justice Department to stop worrying about the institution and worrying about seeing justice for the American people.
Yeah, but by the way, it's Don Peebles. The Clinton legacy is over. They're gone. She's lost twice. He's not in office as president. He's been in office for quite a long time. And I'm trying to figure out what the productive purpose is here. And also, politics it's normal that a new administration makes changes. And so the Attorney General, if he wasn't so weak politically, and had he not been undermined by his boss, maybe he would be in a position to have cleaned house, which is customary when administrative people come in and change things. And so it would have been expected that the Trump administration make dramatic changes in the Justice Department. So, one, what's the productive purpose of continuing this? And two, what is the downside of replacing these people at the top if we don't think that they're doing their job?
Well, we also have to understand that the Mueller investigation is a direct result of the Clinton legacy. Let's look at the reality of this. Mueller was an appointee under the administrations that were not Donald Trump's. His invested interests, along with James Comey, along with all the other leadership, we now are in a position that if you start firing people, it now looks like Donald Trump is trying to hide something. The cards are stacked against them to start making those moves, and it looks like there's a collusion from the top of the White House. The cards are stacked against him if there are attempts at firing. So the best best that we know is that this collusion is a fake news that was reported by President Clinton last night in his tweets on the top fake news, and we're essentially just holding our breath for this to just get finished and move on.
But but I have to push back on that, because I feel like, asking, why we're spending time on this. I think that the rule of law is why we're spending time on this. I think that we have to be able to have trust and credibility in the FBI, in the CIA, in the IRS, and all of the agencies that we trust. And so that's the point. And I think that if we keep going on and on about thinking that there's something and then there's never any accountability. Look at this new revelations in the Democratic IT worker scandal. The Daily Caller now is reporting new information that House investigators have concluded the IT aides made unauthorized access to a House Democratic caucus server in 2016. This report by the House Office of the Inspector General found 5 IT workers logged into servers while not employed by the offices they addressed. 2 of them, Imran Awan and his wife, currently are facing charges of bank fraud after trying to flee to Pakistan in July of last year. And nothing has happened at this either. So people have to wonder, what happens when you've got all of this wrongdoing, this criminality, when you look at the email scandal as well, and there's never accountability, Mary Kissel?
You have to make these documents public. This is the imperative. And look, Senator Dianne Feinstein made some of that public last week to the consternation of Republicans. But actually, I think she had the right idea, Maria. Let's get it all out in the public square. Let's let everybody read about it, whether it's the Clinton email scandal, whether it's the Mueller investigation, how Michael Flynn's name was unmasked, whether it's this IT scandal you're talking about. Let the American people see what's going on, and that's where these investigations in Congress should go.
What? At a certain point, this has got to end. Look, you've got investigations of the President of the United States. His son-in-law is being investigated. His business is being investigated. Many other people are being investigated. We're investigating Hillary Clinton, who lost, who's never going to run again for office. We've got all this energy.
Well, I agree with the Russia probe, because that's nonsense. Robert Mueller has been working on as a special prosecutor for how long now, and we still don't have any evidence of any wrongdoing.
And we don't have any evidence of any wrongdoing by Hillary Clinton either.
Well, we do actually. That's not true.
But some would argue. But by the way, look, I don't want to be in a position of defending Hillary Clinton.
Got special treatment from the FBI. Well, Michael Flynn was prosecuted for making a misstatement, which, by the way, the FBI told Congress that they didn't think was a misstatement, and yet Hillary Clinton's aides lied to the FBI.
That's true. And then
by the way, the FBI is being run by Donald J. Trump's administration. He can give direction on how it's run. And, look, George Bush and Ronald Reagan did not allow the optics to dictate how they ran the government, and nor should Donald Trump. If he's right, he's broken no laws, and that there's misconduct in the FBI, then he should fire them.
You're making my argument for me.
Does it bother you that these FBI agents were back and forth saying we need an insurance policy? Oh, let's go find what's in the paper today because they leaked it. Does it bother you that all of this collusion was going on at the top of the FBI?
Yeah, but you all are acting like this is the first time it's happened. That's the reality here. The reality is this has been going on. No, this has been going on.
Richard Nixon.
Wait a minute.
I think it is. This is the first time we know of it. Yeah.
This is bigger than Nixon. If you have a presidential campaign taking a document that they knew was populated with potentially Russian intelligence, not trustworthy, to a FISA court, getting an order from the FISA court to spy on another presidential campaign, I'd say that's like 100 times as serious as Watergate, and that is what is going on.
And let's not forget, the number 3 guy at the Department of Justice, Bruce Orr, the number 3 guy at the Department of Justice, his wife was working for Fusion GPS, who basically authored this nonsense that was used as actual justification to wiretap Donald Trump. These things, this is America. So I'm just saying that, yeah, I agree on the Russia probe with the nonsense over Donald Trump and collusion, but I don't agree with the Hill. I think we need some accountability when it comes to this stuff.
Well, we ought to get on with it one way or the other, and that is in the power of the hands of the President of the United States and his Justice Department.
It's in the power of Congress to release these interviews and the results of their findings and let the American people decide. The American people aren't dumb, so let's see what actually happened. And Devin Nunes has the power to do that, and I hope he will.
He's getting pushback, it seems, doesn't it?
It does.
He's the only guy doing it, him and Trey Gowdy.
Yeah, and good on him for continuing on, even though Democrats tried to smear him with that ethics investigation. He was cleared, now he's continuing to work.
But the Congress is controlled by Republicans. If they want to release this information, they can do it this morning.
But there is something called the deep state, right? I mean, the deep state, in terms of all of these people who are against this president. And let's not forget what happened as soon as he got inaugurated. The whole intelligence community was against him, leaking stuff and coming up with ways to put barriers up against his agenda.
But a majority of Americans voted against him. But so what? He's the president of the United States. He should do his job, and he should be free to do his job.
Democrats should help Republicans and also call for more transparency.
But that's not what they were elected for.
How about that, Tom?
But again, the Republicans don't. But the Republicans don't need the Democrats. They are in charge. I guarantee you that the Democrats, when they take over Congress, which is going to happen in a very short period of time, they are going to take charge of an agenda. You may not like it, but they're going to take charge of one. And it's about time that the Republican leadership actually step up and lead in the Congress, which they haven't done.
Well, I do agree on one thing you're saying, and that is the fracturing within the Republican Party is not helping them. I mean, you've got the Freedom Caucus in one place, the leadership in another place. And you're right, when the Democrats, when and if they do take control of the House, maybe the Senate in November, they're going to all be aligned.
Right.
You're not going to see this fracturing.
No. And if the government shuts down, it won't be because Democrats shut it down. It'll be because Republicans shut it down.
Well, I don't know about
Republicans always get blamed, Maria.
They may get blamed, but I
think
it's the Democrats who are saying one thing and doing another. They said they wanted border security, but they're not actually doing it. Jesse, we appreciate your insights this morning. You got the final word real quick.
Well, I find it ridiculous. MB would say we have found nothing wrong with Hillary Clinton. She's done plenty wrong. We got to address that.
Jessie, thank you. Jessie Jane Duff there. We'll be right back.